Hello, here is your Berry Investor. Welcome to the first video on my channel. Here we will be exploring various investment topics, focusing on value investing. Let's start with some practical tips, as it's appropriate for the beginning. The legendary investor, Warren Buffett, was once asked what are his rules of investing. He replied, "The first rule is, don't lose money." When the interviewer asked about the second rule, he said, "Don't forget the first rule." Of course that you will lose some, it's a part of the investing process. Just make sure you don't lose too much. Let's illustrate why it's extremely important not to lose much of your capital. If you lose 10% of your capital, you need to gain 11% with the rest to come back to the zero. Doesn't sound too bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay that way as your losses increase. If you lose 30%, the picture changes quickly. Now you already need to gain 43% with the remaining wealth to break even. That is 13% more than you lost. Situation gets only worse as the losses increase. Upon losing 60% of your capital, you will only have 40% of the starting amount. So, you will need to make an extraordinary 150% gain to come back to the starting point. In the long run, your portfolio will benefit more from avoiding big losses and making constant profits, instead of alternating between big gains and equally big losses. Remember that investing is a marathon, not a sprint. You don't want to be the fastest after the first mile and collapse there. You want to finish the race, even if you are not the first one. Another important point is to keep your investing costs low. Especially when you are starting, you definitely want your transaction costs to be low. In the next video, we will talk about practicalities and advantages of diversifying your investments across multiple positions, and about averaging down. That will require many transactions, and if you stick to more traditional brokers, your bank for example, this will probably cost you a lot of money. Or even worse, guided by the desire to keep transaction costs low, you might decide not to diversify enough or not to keep free capital for averaging down, which will probably hurt you even more. Luckily, these days there are many low-cost brokers, the most of them being categorized as neo-brokers. Some of them are registered banks themselves, some cooperate with other banks. Few that I researched were legit, and offer the same safety that you have with more expensive options. The offer will depend on your country of residence, so check your local market, and you will find a good broker that suits your needs. What many often overlook, is the emotional cost of investing. Stock charts are not straight lines in a desired direction. And the volatility can often have dire consequences on our emotions. It's absolutely crucial to keep those costs down. And to save the greatest wealth you have, your health. It would be great if that would be as easy as it is finding a good neo-broker. Unfortunately, it's not. The psychology of investing will be often in our focus in the coming videos. Here are a few main points that I picked up so far. Investing is not a competition. Try not to compare your results with those of your friends and colleagues. And simply don't, compare yourself with anonymous people on the internet. Talking about internet forums. It would be great if we could develop a knowledge-sharing community, using the comments section. Let's just not make it into a bragging competition. On the other hand, comparing yourself against the market itself over the long term is meaningful. If you see that you are constantly behind the market, maybe that is a sign to simply invest in Standard & Poor 500, instead of picking your stocks. However, if you have a desire to do more active investing, dedicate a couple of years for learning and getting experience. Good results will not come overnight. Know what are you doing. As you develop your knowledge and gain experience, you should be more confident in your actions. After experiencing a temporary loss, and a recovery that followed, you will be way calmer in similar situations in future. As long as initial decisions were made with the same, or even better investing logic. It is important to collect the relevant knowledge. And it's way more important to develop a discipline, to apply it in all your investing decisions. Know your risk profile. We have different financial situations, and different risk profiles. Take these for example. A recent graduate, who just started working, and has no debt and obligations towards his family, can probably invest everything that remains from his salary at the end of the month. Or even better, invest a dedicated amount at the beginning of each month. On the other side of the town is a father of two, in his late 30s, who saves significant capital, and has no experience investing. He probably shouldn't take all the savings and invest it within 2 weeks. If you already have some capital at the beginning of your investing journey, probably it would make sense to invest in periodically, maybe over a period of 1 year. I intend to develop few investor personas, and to analyze how their decisions might differ in certain situations. Your help will be needed there. To summarize few essential tips for starting the investing journey. Be generous investing your time in learning. Be cautious about sums you invest. See it more as practicing what you learned in theory. Keep your transaction and emotional costs low. Might sound too cautious and too slow. It will eventually speed up. Don't worry. Starting too fast, getting burned, or overwhelmed, and abandoning the whole idea of investing would hurt your wealth generation much more. The next video will be about diversification and averaging down. If the way I approach investing is in line with your idea of investing, please subscribe and comment what topics you would like to have covered. Until next time.